Shalom, family, shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to the Most High God of Israel. I want to thank you for tuning in. Today's lesson we're going to be speaking on is never quit, never doubt, but endure. I'm your brother Ananias, A.O.I. We're going to jump straight into it. When you're going through trials and tribulations in life, you got to know how to not quit, not doubt yourself, but endure. You got to realize at all times that's the mindset you got to have. But before you get started, or before we get started, if you know anything about me, I like to put together or bring out the meaning of certain things. For instance, tribulation, which we're going over today. So I went to Merriam-Webster dictionary online and found a definition, or we're going to just use their definition of what tribulation is. And it says it's a distress or suffering resulting from oppression or persecution, also a trying experience. That's exactly what a trial or a tribulation is. It's a trying experience that we all going to go through. But specifically tonight, we're talking to the Israelites, God's chosen people, the so-called blacks, African Americans, Negroes, Latino, Hispanics, Native Indians. We're talking to you because you are God's chosen people. The Israelites, 12 tribes deep, equaling one nation. So we're talking about tribulation. During your trials and tribulation, you got to have a mindset where you never quit, you never doubt yourself, but you enduring. You got to face your problems head on and endure throughout the process in order to be successful on the other end. Because what is a tribulation? It's a trying experience. And throughout life, you're going to constantly go through these trials and tribulations. So in a nutshell, that's practice. I know some of you think, how can that be practice? But I also looked up the definition of practice. And we got a couple examples that they listed: actual performance or application, a repeated or customary action, a usual way of doing something. And this is the one I chose, or I like best: systematic exercise for proficiency. And it has the phrase under, practice makes perfect. A systematic exercise for proficiency. These are the things that you're going to go through in life that's going to build you, give you character, give you experience, give you knowledge to help guide yourself and others throughout life. That's what trials and tribulations are about. But once you go through those trials and tribulations, once you continue to practice, at the end of it, you're going to have success. And what is success? A degree of measure of succeeding, a favorable or desired outcome. But I like to say it's just being able to complete a goal or a job or a task. Whenever you set out to do something, you complete it. That's success. That's what success is. Not what society makes it out to be, meaning you got to make millions of dollars, have 10, 15 cars, 5 different women, the biggest house on the block. Nah, success means being able to accomplish a goal, whether that's to build a business, to become married, to raise your children, to get a job. Once you complete that goal, that's success. You have become successful. We got to renew our minds and stop thinking the American way, because that's Babylon the Great, if you don't know, and that's a foolish and a wicked mindset to have. Think about it. But before we carry on, well, you know what? I want to address after the fact. I told you beforehand, when you're going through trials and tribulations, it's going to build you up, give you character, and give you experience. Where does that experience come from? The journey to reach that goal. The journey, the road, the path that you travel in order to reach that goal is what gives you the experience. That's what builds you, the journey. So remember that whenever you go through your trials and tribulations in life, it's the journey through how you were able to maneuver through the obstacles that were on the course in order for you to successfully complete that trial and tribulation. Whether you were on top or below, it was the journey that built you up. So going forward, you'll have a different outlook on life, a way of handling business, a way of dealing with people, a way of conjuring up or using your resources. So whenever you go through these things, just remember that. I want you to watch this video though right quick.
I had a turn back moment, man. It was the day I was going to quit. Because I had enough, man. I was living in this car for 3 years, man. I ain't got no money. And I was going to call my mom and dad and ask them, could I come home and just stay in the attic for about 4 months till I find a job. My father told me, you can't come back home. Once you leave my daddy's house, you got to figure it out. So I knew it was going to be hard. But they had put an answer machine in the attic for me. And so I was bathing in a hotel in Pensacola, Florida. And the way I used to bathe was, I used to go to hotels that had those bathroom doors that went floor to ceiling. I would go to real fancy, like Ritz-Carltons and stuff like that, because they had linen towels wrapped up in a basket. And I would take a bunch of them and run hot water on them, and I'd take them in the stall and shut the door, and I'd take my bag and I'd soap up. Then I would wait till the coast was clear, and I'd run out and get a bunch of more rags and soak them up and come out and wipe it off. Then I stand there and dry, put my clothes back on. That's how I bathe every other day, man. And so I was in there one time, and they had a convention in town. And when I got all the stuff, I soaked up. This convention let out, and men was just coming in the bathroom, and I couldn't go out. So I couldn't get the soap off. So I let the toilet seat down, and I'm sitting there, man. I just started crying. I said, man, I can't take it. I'm finna quit. I'm gonna go call my daddy and just ask him, can I come home, man? I can't do this no more. So before I called him, I called the answer machine, and I got a message. And it says, Steve Harvey, this is Chuck Sutton from Showtime at the Apollo. We saw a tape of you. If you would come to New York Sunday night, this was a Thursday, coming to Sunday night, we're going to put you on TV, Showtime at the Apollo. Put me on TV. That was my dream. But I had a problem. I had $25, and I couldn't get to New York. How was I going to get to New York with $25? So I said, man, I went back in my car, and I'm crying again. I said, man, God, I finally get a shot to get on TV, and then I can't even go. I said, how could you do this to me? And I'm 30-something now. I've been waiting my whole life. And you get me here? So I said, let me call this machine back and just see if he said this Sunday. And I called it back, and it said, Steve, this is Chuck Sutton from Showtime at the Apollo. We saw a tape. We have an opening for you Sunday. If you can get here, give me a call. Let me know. We'd love to put you on TV. So I got ready to hang up, and I heard, boop, you have another message. And I punched in the code, and the message says, Steve Harvey, this is Tom Sobel from the Comedy Caravan. I don't know where you are now, but I have a gig available for you in Jacksonville, Florida, to pay you $150 Friday night. If you can make the gig, let me know. I'm in Pensacola. So I called Tom Sobel. He sends me to this gig to make $150. I go the next night, I make $150. But I was so funny, the club owner said, if you stay the next night, I'll pay you another $150. I got $300. I called Chuck Sutton back at the Apollo and said, hey man, I just got this message. If you still got room for me in New York, I'll do it. He said, yeah, come on. So I went to Eastern Airlines, bought a round trip ticket for $99 from Jacksonville, Florida to New York. Performed on Showtime at the Apollo. Wrote the joke that made me famous. Mike Tyson hit this fighter Mitch Green in the eye, and his eye started talking. And I wrote that on the way to New York. Got a standing ovation on the Apollo. I have been on television ever since that night right there.
So the brother Steve Harvey, he brought a good point. Or the message that he was bringing across was that you can't quit, you can't give up. Even when you get to that point in life where you're just like, you know what, the hell with it. You got to keep enduring. You got to keep pushing, is what they say. But let's go and see what the Most High say. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha. And it reads, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So just like the brother Steve Harvey was going through, he was going through trials and tribulations, difficult times, but he had to continue to push forward. The Most High is saying right here, if you're going to come to serve him, you got to prepare your soul, prepare your mind for temptation, for different trials that are going to come your way. Set your heart aright, meaning set your mind right, get your mind right. That's the saying that goes around. And constantly endure. How do you endure? You got to build yourself up. Endurance, stamina, a willingness to succeed, a passion, a drive. You got to constantly endure. Make not haste. What it mean? Don't be quick to make rash decisions in troublesome times. And make not haste in time of trouble. Don't make decisions based off emotions. Don't get scared when something arises. Cleave unto him. And all things acknowledge him. And cleave unto him, meaning trust in him, the Most High God of Israel, at all times. And depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. So if you've never heard it before, when you go through trials and tribulations, when anything that you struggle to do in life, it's always a reward on the other end. So he telling you right here, cleave unto him. Just remember who you serving, who created you, who's in control of all things. Cleave unto him and don't depart from that thought or from that fact, so that you'll be increased at thy last end. When you're going through these tribulations, face it head on. On the other end, it's a brighter day. It's another day. It's a better day. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. So whatever come your way, you lose your job, you get denied, you get rejected, you lose something, take it cheerfully. Somebody say something about you, because that's going to happen regardless whether you know it or not. Whether you make $1 million a day or you make no money, somebody going to always have something to say. So you got to take these things cheerfully. And remember at all times to continue to push forward, but pushing forward in the way that the Most High designed you to do so. Makes sense, correct? But he's saying whatever brought to you, take it cheerfully. Why? You thinking to yourself, why, if I lose my job, should I take that cheerfully? Because there's other brothers and sisters that never had a job who wish they were in your position. You can't pay your rent. You're late. The landlord or the bank that you're dealing with threatening to put you out. Or imagine the folks that never had that opportunity. Your family members treating you wrong because of the thoughts that you have or the actions that you take, or the fact that you into the truth. They treating you different now. Or maybe they aren't. But you got to take that cheerfully, because that's letting you know that change is being made, and they noticing it. And if it wasn't no change being made, that means you wasn't doing nothing. They could care less. Think about these things. You got a job, stop complaining because you're not getting what you want when you want it. There's plenty of people that'll be lined up around the block to take your job and do it for less money and work longer hours and endure the situation or the problem that you got going on. You need to think of these things. You know, that's why the Most High say, take it joyfully, take it cheerfully. You know, we spoiled in Babylon the Great. We think we got it bad because we got to go to work for 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day so we can get a check and go and do what we want to do. When these folks in these other countries, they can't even take showers because they government's cutting off the hot water or cutting off the electricity, selling them rotten meats, you know, shooting up their neighborhoods. And we complaining because we ain't getting enough hours, or we complaining because they serving this type of food, or we complaining because this person didn't give me a like on Facebook. Most High say, take your trials and tribulations cheerfully, because what you got, somebody else would love to have what you complaining about. You know, oh, my family don't love me. It's somebody else saying, I wish I had a family. Stop being so damn selfish. Get out your feelings and get into this word. But what he said, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. What does that mean? The Most High God chose a nation of people. Throughout the whole Bible, that's who he speaks to. And those people is the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We are the Israelites. You are the Israelites. The chosen people of the Most High God. He considers you to be gold. So in order to purify gold, to be able to change its shape, to do all these different things, heat has to be applied. So that's why he said, for gold is tried in the fire. That's how you remove the impurities to purify it and to be able to change it from one state to another. You have to apply heat. So you're going to go through trials and tribulations, which are going to, at the end of the day, prove you worthy. But for now, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 13. And it reads, and it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. What is that saying? That's teaching you how to serve the Most High. And what did he say in the last verse? If you come to serve me, prepare your soul. So how do you serve him? When you come to keeping his law, statutes, and commandments, by serving him, prepare your soul for temptation, for people trying to be wicked towards you or trying to entice you to do things contrary to what the Bible say, or lie to you and say, nah, we don't have to do that anymore. Prepare your soul for temptation. Think about it. Who was the law given to? Who was the commandments given to? Let's find that out. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 44. And it reads, and this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. He didn't say the whole world. He didn't say all people. He said of Israel. So we got to understand that the law, statutes, and commandments were only given to the children of Israel. From there, let's go to the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 1. Give me a second. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 1. And it reads, how is gold become dim? Who is the gold? The Israelite. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out to the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter? What is the Most High saying right there? Look how you lost your shine. You're supposed to be serving me. Look how you lost your shine. You're supposed to be purifying yourself, to walk in all his ways, keep his commandment, to show yourself approved, but you lost your shine. Why? Because we're not keeping his commandments. That's why we go through these trials and tribulations that we go through. But he's telling us, look how you lost your shine. That's why we go through the things we go through in life. Because in the beginning, he gave us blessings and curses, or life and death, that we had a choice of choosing from by keeping his commandments. So if we done lost our shine and we become dim, what is that saying? We didn't keep his commandments. And if we going through constant tribulation day after day, put it that way, just know that we ain't keeping his commandment as a nation, which is why our people, the so-called blacks, African Americans, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Indians, that's why we at the bottom of society, struggling to make ends meet. From there, let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 54. And it reads, and after these, Adam also, so we already know everybody comes from Adam, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all. So we all know that we all come from Adam. And the people also whom thou hast chosen. So it's letting you know right there that everybody comes from Adam, even the ones that the Most High God chose. And this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. So it's letting you know, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that the world that you live in, this earth that you walk around on day in and day out, was made for your sake. So when you're thinking about quitting and doubting yourself, ready to throw in the towel, remember this key fact: the world was made for you. So stop having that mindset of quitting. That's not in your DNA. That was taught to you. The Most High chose you to be a special people, above all people. So get that quitter mentality, that doubting yourself, out of your mind. And remember that the world was made for your sake. Let's see what else the Most High said. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5, and it reads, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. What did the Most High just say? Before you were formed in the belly, before you had arms and feet and that big head you got, he ordained you. He knew you. He chose you to be a prophet, to speak his word. He chose you. So when you think about quitting, just know that the things that you go through, the Most High has a plan for you. You know, he got a plan for you. He already knew what he created you for, what your mission was. All you got to do is get out there and walk the path. But you want to have the mindset to quit and doubt yourself at every chance you get before you even start the mission. But you got to understand that. Change your mindset. From there, let's go to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 7. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 7. And it reads, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, there go that gold again, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. So what is that saying? These trials and tribulations that you go through are going to exist for one reason: to prove you worthy. That's what these trials and tribulations is for, to show yourself approved. I said that before, but that's what it is. From there, let's go to the book of John, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things that were made by him, and without him was not as anything made that was made. What is that saying? Nothing is made or happens without his approval. So you got to keep that in mind too when you're thinking about giving up. When you're thinking that the world is too much. You know, nothing happens without the Most High okay. So if he okayed it, that means that he know what you're capable of doing. You know, there's no need for you to give up, want to quit, and doubt yourself and doubt him at the same time. You know, you got to have a strong mindset. That's why he says set your mind or set your heart aright if you're going to come to serve him. Don't be like the wicked individuals that say to hell with serving the Most High, because their end is going to end up in death. And you'll see them 30, 40, 50, 60 years old by themselves, barely walk, ain't got no sense, can't help nobody, can't even help them damn self. Why? Because they rejected the knowledge of the Most High. Don't be one of those individuals that turn away from this knowledge. As you can see, our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. That's also written in here in the Bible. Hosea 4:6. And because we reject knowledge, the Most High say he's going to reject us and our children. So don't be one of those individuals sitting back watching and listening to this video and reject this knowledge. The book of Isaiah chapter 46:10. Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. This is the Most High talking, you know? So what he's saying right there is the same thing we said in the last verse. Nothing happens without his okay, without his say-so. And he declared the end from the beginning. So he already know what path lies ahead of you. You just got to walk that path according to how he designed it to be walked. But when you start doing your own thing, that's when it takes you longer to reach your goals in life. That's when you start having all these trials and tribulations and your life start going crazy. You know, things that should have took you 1 to 2 years to accomplish, now it's 10, 15 years down the road. Now you done went through all these different things that you didn't have to go through. Why? Because you weren't keeping God's commandments. Had you been keeping his commandment, you would have been to the level in life that you wanted to be in, that you so desperately seek. All you gotta do is keep his commandments for your good. He'll tell you that all throughout the Bible. But these pastors and these teachers ain't gonna tell you that. They'll tell you everything but that. All they want you to do is give up the money and sing a song. All throughout the Bible, it say from Genesis to Revelation is keep my commandments. Keep his commandments. If you want to be blessed, keep his commandments. If you want right to the tree of life, keep his commandments. If you want to enter into the city, keep the commandments. For your good, wherever you turn, for your good, keep the commandments. They're not teaching you this. That's why we at the bottom. And it's more than 10 commandments. They're not teaching you this. So stop going in there, giving them your money if they ain't teaching you the commandments. That's for your good. That is for your good, keeping these commandments. Like I said, don't be a fool and reject this knowledge. Read it and research it yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Read it and research it yourself. But we're going to continue to move on. Let's go to Jeremiah 29:11. Jeremiah 29:11. And it reads, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. You hear that? We're going to keep reading though. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. and ye shall seek me and find me when you shall search for me with all your heart. It's simple enough, you know. But what he's saying right there is he had a plan for you. An expected end. Because you just got through reading there, he declared the ending from the beginning. So the Most High got a plan for you. You just got to walk that path. Stop listening to everything or anyone that's telling you to go against what the Most High say. Because that's for your destruction. It's not for your benefit. It's for your destruction. Think about these things. You want a relationship to last, but you listening to everything that goes against the Bible. And you wonder why your relationship is in the toilet, in the dumpster. Why your households are split up because you're not following the commandments. You're not being taught the commandments. You're single parent mothers, single parent fathers. Why? Because you weren't taught the commandments. And they still ain't teaching them, but they getting that money from you. You going in there, you playing the drums, you playing the organ, you singing and hoopla, doing all this dancing around, but you ain't doing nothing for the Lord. He telling you day in and day out, keep his commandments, study his commandments, teach his commandments for your good. But no, we don't want to do that. We want to do everything but. And his commandments ain't even hard. A man, put a beard on your face. Woman, get out the pants. Keep the Sabbath day holy. Don't nobody even know what the Sabbath day is outside of this truth. There are rules and regulations for the Sabbath day. Oh, my Sabbath day is on a Sunday. Do you realize that on a Sunday or whatever your Sabbath day is, according to you, not the Bible, but you're not supposed to be buying or selling, cooking, doing any type of work, going to any type of funerals, fighting and arguing with each other? Nah, you didn't know that. Why? Because your pastors and your teachers ain't telling you these things, but it's all written inside the Bible, precept upon precept. Think about these things. Keep having more and more kids out of wedlock. You keep smoking them weeds, keep shooting up, keep popping them pills, keep turning that bottle up. Why? Because you don't know who you are. You don't know what you're capable of. You don't know what your purpose is on this planet is to be doing. You think you lost it, basically. What do you say? How the gold is dim. Lost its shine. You don't know who you are, nor what you're supposed to be doing. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 1 and 2. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 2. 2 Timothy 1 and 7. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. When you're thinking about quitting, when you're doubting yourself, you're fearful. You're full of fear. Most High didn't give you that spirit. He gave you a spirit of power and love. What's love? Keeping the commandments. You know, sound mind. How do you have a sound mind? Keeping the commandments. How do you show your power? Keeping the commandments. You don't believe me? Let's go find out what love is according to the scriptures. This is the book of 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. I already told you that. But I'm backing it up because the Bible tells you to prove all things. So the love of God is keeping his commandments. You know? But some of us, we lack that. We don't understand why, because we lost the shine. We gold that became dim. So we got to get our shine back. One of the things we can't do is keep making up excuses. And we got to have some type of accountability for the things that we do in life. Accept what you have done, the mistakes that you made, good or bad. Accept it. Face your problem head on. Realize what's going on. One of our most famous brothers, made excuses before he did what he did. Moses. I'm going to give you an example. Let's go to Exodus chapter 3 and 11. And it reads, "And Moses said unto God, Who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt?" Once again, he going in there for the children of Israel, but he talking to the Most High, asking, who am I? That's how some of you think about yourself when it comes to trying to jump out there and start your own business, or to go out and speak up on an issue that's bothering you, or even apply for another position at your job. Who am I? I'm not qualified. You're doubting yourself before you even try. That's a spirit of fear. The Most High didn't give you that. You're doubting yourself early. Let's go to Exodus chapter 4 and 1 and see what other excuses Moses had. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord have not appeared unto thee. Doubting himself again. Have yet to put on the sandal and walk in any direction toward completing that goal or that task or the job at hand. 2 excuses already. The Most High chose him. So when he chooses you, just know, walk the path and it's good. He created everything for a good purpose. So when he chooses you, walk that path. No questions asked, just do it. And that's what Moses did. And what are we doing now? Thousands of years later, we talking about Moses. We learning from him. Learning from his mistakes. The Most High say in the Bible, things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. So we reading this and we getting the understanding and the learning going forward in life to be able to maneuver ourselves through our trials and tribulations and to be able to teach others. That's what it's all about. But, always consider yourself a leader, the light. Somebody always watching you. So always consider what type of example you setting and what type of mindset you have. Don't have the mindset of a quitter. It's not only that you need to think about who you quitting on. It's not just you. Other people that you don't even know are watching you at all times, whether it be family members, friends, co-workers. They always watching. Most importantly, the Most High is always watching. He chose you, ordained you. He okayed everything to happen. So he know that you're capable of handling what's put on your plate. So when you quitting, know that you quitting on him as well. Keep that in mind at all time. Don't quit. Don't doubt yourself, but endure. Endure through your trials and tribulations and endure to the end. Let's go back to the book of Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 10. And it reads, give me a second. Let me get that. This is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? Just like I was just saying, everything that was written for our learning. Most High say, search out the scriptures, look back in time. Was it ever any brothers or sisters that kept his commandments, that did his will, that followed his way of living, that called upon him? Did he ever confound them, confuse them? Did he ever forsake them, forget about them, leave them stranded? No, he didn't do that. He helped them through it, didn't depart. They trusted in him, as you should at all times. They acknowledged him in all that they did, so he could direct their path. That's in Proverbs 3 and 6. The Most High said, set your heart aright and have a sound mind. It'll take you up out of here. So for now, let's go back to the book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. Where you at? This is the book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of God and the Lord and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Who are we talking to? 12 tribes. 12 tribes of Israel? Scattered abroad. What does that mean? They scattered throughout the four corners of the world. Why? For being disobedient. Why? Because the Most High did that. That's part of one of the curses in Deuteronomy 28. Matter of fact, it's Deuteronomy 28:64. Said he was going to scatter us for being disobedient, for not hearkening to his voice. Let's keep reading though. Verse 2, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. What is that saying? Exactly what we've been saying the whole time. Tribulation gonna teach you patience, understanding through long suffering. So rejoice during your tribulation and know that the Most High is dealing with you. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 8. 1 and 18. Excuse me. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. That's what's going to happen to most of you when you come into this truth. Because you're going to come into this knowledge, and it's going to make you mad. You're going to see a lot of sorrow. You're going to have a lot of sorrow in your mind. Why? Because you're going to realize you've been lied to your whole life. Everything you thought to be true was a damn lie. I'm just telling you, the more knowledge you gain, the more sorrow you're going to gain. Or more sorrow you'll have. I put it that way. You know? Knowing that these other nations been plotting against you the whole time because you were chosen by the Most High God. That's understandable, but growing up, you weren't taught that. You've been living under the flag and we are one nation. United as one. Standing up, pledging allegiance to the flag and this and that. When you read the Bible and come to this truth, you realize that's a graven image that our people bowing down to, serving, worshiping. Think about these things. From there, let's go to the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. The book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, and it reads, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Think about that. I give up in due season, you shall reap what is promised. That's basically what it's saying. When you continue to push forward and endure to the end, you're going to reap what's guaranteed to you, what's promised to you. You know? So you can't have that mindset of, I'm going to quit this, I'm going to quit that. Some of you know brothers and sisters that have had over 20, 30 jobs in their lifetime. And they ain't even 40 years old. Most people don't even have 10 jobs in a lifetime, let alone 20, 30, and 40 jobs. You know? That's their quitting mentality. You know? From there, let's go to Psalms 34 and 19. Psalms 34 and 19. And it reads, many are the afflictions of the righteous. Who are the righteous? Those who keep in God's commandment, or the Israelite. But the Lord delivereth him out of them all. He's going to deliver you out of all of them, as long as you stay the course, stay keeping his commandments, enduring to the end. Because you're going to have many afflictions, many trials and tribulations throughout your life. But if you stay the course, you'll be able to navigate them the correct way. You know? I can't make this up. So now let's go to 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 10. And it reads, "But the God of all grace, who have called us into his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after that ye have suffered a while, make ye perfect, establish strength, settle you. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen." So what is that saying? The Lord gonna strengthen you and establish you through your trials and tribulations. Only if you keeping his commandment. He's gonna build you up so you can give all honor and glory to him throughout all things. That's how we should be doing anyway. From there, let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 12. Go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 12, and it reads, "For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth." So what we got to understand from there is at all times, we got to remember that the Most High chose us, so he loves us. If he loves us, he going to correct us, just the same way a father would a son. So when you're going through these trials and tribulations, realize the Most High is dealing with you, chastising you just like he would a child, because you are his child. We are all children of the Most High, according to Psalms 82 and 6. So from there, let's go to Romans chapter 8, verse 35. Romans chapter 8, verse 35. And it reads, "Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter." So just know whatever you go through in life, can't nothing separate you from Christ, from his love. It's nothing. Except for when you sin. Because the reward or the wages of sin is death. He came to die for your sins, to give you repentance, to give you grace, so that you can take that time period. That's what grace is, a time period for you to get yourself together. Because back in those biblical times, guess what? You would be put to death for the things that you do today. Breaking the Sabbath, be put to death. Cheating on your wife or your husband, be put to death. All these things, sleeping with another man or another woman of the same sex, put to death. Witchcraft, put to death. All these different things. But today in Babylon, the Great Society, these things are acceptable. And they teach you as Israelites that, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, it's okay to keep you in sin. That's why you're steady on the bottom of society. That's why they still gunning us down in the street. That's why they still packing us into their prison systems, giving us the worst communities to live in, the worst schooling, the worst education. Last hired, first fired, single parent household, black on black crime. All these different things stemming from breaking God's commandments. I'm just the messenger. So, from there, let's go to the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 7. Let's go to the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. This is the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. "The book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth," which is the Bible, "but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous." You see that? He didn't say nothing about giving up your money to make you prosperous. Prosperity. That's what you see your T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen and Creflo's talking about. Your neighborhood pastor talking about give up the money. This ain't say nothing about money. Say the book of the law shall not depart. He said meditate on it day in and day out, day and night, to be prosperous and thou shalt have a good success. That's how you become successful, by keeping these commandments. Verse 9, have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. So he's telling you, be strong and of good courage. And remember that he with you wherever you go. You know? Don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed at what you see, knowing that the Most High is with you at all times. When you are keeping his commandments, we got to understand that, people. Israel, we got to understand these things. But from now, we're going to go to Matthew chapter 28. Matthew chapter 28, verse 19. And it reads, go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. So at all times, like I just said, just know that the Most High is always with us. Keep his commandments and go forth throughout the world, throughout the other nations, teaching your people, thus saith the Lord, keep these commandments. That's why he said, go into all nations, because we were scattered abroad, scattered into every nation. That's why you can go to China and see a bunch of black folks. You can go to Russia, see a bunch of black folks, Canada, a bunch of black, Hispanics, Native Indians. We everywhere. We were scattered abroad throughout all the nations, throughout the world, as a punishment. So that's why the Most High commanded us, or Christ commanded us, to go and to teach into all nations. And on that, I hope you learned something, and I'm going to close it out. Shalom.
Wired differently. He's wired differently. Listen to me. What makes a gazelle is how he's wired. What makes a lion is how he's wired. Okay, let me explain to you. When a lion sees a gazelle and a gazelle sees the lion, both beasts see each other at the exact same time. When the gazelle sees the lion, because of how he's wired, he automatically, fear takes over. When the lion sees the gazelle, he lights up. It's showtime. The hunt is on. This is what I was made for. And if you've ever studied a lion, if an animal is wounded, the lion won't even do what? Won't attack. The lion will only attack if it's if it's healthy. The lion, let him go. There's no fun in that. He's already dead. Right? For real, there's some of you, there are opportunities that you're like, it's too difficult. It's too hard. Nobody can do it. You're not wired properly. Lion welcomes the challenge. As a matter of fact, they don't get excited unless it is a challenge. Wired different. When a gazelle immediately sees the lion, the first thing it thinks about is, let's go. First thing the lion does is like, let's eat. Oh, I'm wired differently. I didn't start crying. I didn't say, why me? I'm doing good to the world. I'm not hurting anybody. Why me? I'm wired differently. We turn tragedy into triumph. That's what lions do. Lions don't cry. Lions don't give up. Lions don't quit. Lions hunt. And if you were a true lion, it does not make a difference what the circumstance is. So what? We're in a recession. We made more money in the recession than we've ever made before. As a matter of fact, it was the recession that birthed us. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not.